For some weird reason, I think the human brain is hardwired to be dark. So I think the dark aspect of music has always been there. I mean, you even listen to old, Baroque music, haunting melodies and stuff like that.
The origins of dark music, yeah, they could stretch all the way back to classical music. There is a lot of darkness in the world, and art reflects that. Maybe that could contribute to the genesis of heavy metal, to where we are.
Since I was 10 years old, I've been listening to metal pretty much. When I first heard it, it was nothing I've ever heard before. Like, there's nothing like it, so I was like, wow, I'm gonna stick to it.
It affected my whole life. All I wanted to do was just play guitar and listen to heavy metal.
We don't all come from perfect places, and there's broken homes, and there's pain that I think a lot of people carry around every day. That's why they reach out to music, or why they relate to bands, because they have this thing that they're missing maybe, and that's something they can identify with and be a part of.
It was therapy, I think, for me. I'm by all means not a violent person. I don't drink to forget or anything like that, so I use music as my therapy. I would be bullied at school, and seems like they had that control, but when I had control was when I was listening to music and I was creating that world for me.
Even though it's darker music, it actually has a meaning to it, and it actually has stuff you can relate to.
People that are really into it are never the same as the society or the trend. They're always the outcast.
I never felt like a part of the cool crowd. I always felt like an outsider, and that art really spoke to me.
I just kind of liked everything about that genre, the metal community. Man, these guys like stick together and they support themselves a little differently, and it just seemed like a better community.
I think that so many people are drawn to this darker music because they're tired of everyone telling them how to feel. It's this, yay, pop, like everything's great. Everything's not great. And that needs to be expressed, and you need to get it out. And it's this angst and this release, whether your release is listening to somebody sing about a fantasy world of dragons and rainbows and Dio and all that stuff, or it's going to see Suicidal Tendencies play their metal-influenced punk rock, just slamming reality in your face the whole time. You just need to release that.
Well, I would think fear would be the thing that basically drives that as an entertainment source. You're afraid of death. I think the way to soften the blow a little bit is to just, experience it and, vicariously through something else.
That sort of darker appeal just has some sort of, it's bad for you. It's like that whole sex, drugs, and rock and roll thing. If it's bad for you, it's gotta be good in some sort of way.
I saw Metallica covers, Dio covers, Scorpions covers, albums that I've never heard of, and was just so attracted to that artwork.
When I was growing up, I got Merciful Fate, Don't Break the Oath, and it had this demon skull coming at you, and it scared the living bejesus out of me. And I thought, oh my God, this artwork, I have to hide this from my parents, and it was this rebellious thing, and I think that's what kind of gave you that adrenaline to do it, and to always look at what else is out there.
Like the Killers album cover, it's one of the greatest album covers ever. That grabbed my attention, and all the Kiss album covers, and all the imagery from Kiss. It doesn't seem dark to me, really. It almost seems more vibrant.
I was into rock, at the time, AC/DC and all that, when Bon Scott was alive, and bands like that. But then Black Sabbath was the one that opened the door to me to that heavier, darker side of music.
I think it pretty much all comes from Black Sabbath, which is like the heaviest band ever.
People just started going, what's going on? This band went from playing the Troubadour, and then you fast forward 2 weeks and they're at the Forum. How did that happen?
After that just kind of took off. It was just Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, then Anthrax, the first thrash metal bands.
And then, then bands like Motley Crue or Poison that is still heavy, but as far as what they're singing about, their overall look is still something different.
And then early 2000s when the whole metalcore thing broke.
As soon as it became more mainstream and a bigger crowd started coming to it, it wasn't theirs anymore. So they started splintering off in different directions.
Death metal, black metal, power metal.
grindcore, you've got glam rock,
Funk metal, industrial metal, metalcore, neoclassical metal, new metal, post-metal, progressive metal, rap metal, slush metal, symphonic metal, black metal, Viking metal.
I think everyone wants to put something in a category now, and everyone wants to take it to the next level.
Things just continue to get heavier and heavier and more aggressive and more energy, because that's kind of like what you want. You want things to surprise you. You want to hear something that you've never heard before, and that's what like metal is for most people when they first hear it.
I kind of think in 5 years, metal is not going to be the same metal. With the help of software and electronics and just the recording industry is progressing, so I think people are learning new ways to do stuff, new sounds to create.
I kind of don't think there's any limits, because every time in my life I was like, this is as crazy as it's gonna get. It got crazier.
I can always kind of get weirder with what I have to say. Well, there's millions of ways to kill people, you know? You know, so I don't think I'll run out of ideas with that.
This music can be anywhere from socially conscious and political with bands like Sepultura, or it could be all fantasy with bands like Iron Maiden. It's massive, it's in our face, and it's pretty big. You know, I'm not gonna lie. And I mean, you've got bands like Iron Maiden who have sold just as many records as Kelly Clarkson. You know what I mean? Like, so I definitely think it's a force to be reckoned with.
Protecting the boss, don't destroy the weed in the bones.